Hello, Lars, and everyone, whoever may or may not be watching. Look at this. What is this guy doing? Yeah, perfect. All right, so my name's David McComb, and this is how I met Vulcan, I guess. Oh, it was like a love story. Maybe it's not, but all great love stories start and end with Chase Heinrich, and that's where this one starts. So Chase and I go way back, all the way back to high school in Corpus Christi, Texas, home of Whataburger and Selena. Maybe she wasn't born there, but she definitely, you get the point. So we go way back, and we're there. We're obsessed with movies, right? So we have the Video Hound's Guide to Movies. It's this book like this big. Just this big Bible of a book. Just everything. It's got actors in it. It's got directors. It's like this director did this, and this. These movies, and it's all alphabetized, and it's beautiful. And we would go in and we would try to watch all the movies, you know, of people that we liked, right? Like, we're like, I really enjoy this film. Let's look it up on here. And then we're like, oh, well, the fucking dude, the cinematographer made this movie. Let's check it out. So we'd make these lists, and we'd have lists of movies. They're like, you know, and sometimes in here, sometimes on paper. If we knew how to write, you know, we would write it down. And so we'd go to Hollywood Video, and we'd go to Blockbuster. That's all we had there. And we'd be like, oh, pulled out the scroll of the movies, and you know, there's like one movie that they have. They got like one movie. You know, it's like Sophie's Choice. They're like, oh, cool. I guess we got Sophie's Choice. Right, great. So we're always into movies. We always loved looking for great movies. Our knowledge for, our thirst for knowledge, or like quest of finding the great movie was always like pushing us to look and learn more. So Chase got a job at Hollywood Video. Obviously, logical step. So he goes, bro, I'm at Hollywood Video, and I can get you a job. And I was like, yeah, let's work together. Let's hang out and do movie stuff. So I go to Hollywood Video and work with Chase, and I'm wearing this fucking polo, and there's like a lanyard. You know, it could have been Blockbuster Video. I don't really know. You could ask Chase. Like, I have like purged that from my mind, because it was the worst job I've ever had in my entire life. Zero self-esteem going into the job, and I had less than that leaving the job. I was like, oh, I work at Hollywood Video. Like, super embarrassed. It was horrible. You know, there's a wall of 57 Mission Impossible 2s, because that dude brother's like, God, I just saw Mission Impossible and it blew my fucking mind. I need to see the sequel. And you're like, you don't need to, but it's over there. There's a million copies. Anyways, so I quit that job. It was poo-poo, garbage, done. Chase later on was like, I don't know, some amount of time later, Chase will fill in that. He's like a writer. He knows this stuff. Some amount of time later, he goes, bro, I got a job at Vulcan Video. And I was like, you smug little bitch. What does that even mean? Anyways, I go check it out. It's beautiful. It's heaven. Everything I ever wanted from high school on was in this fucking store. I walked out of there with this stack like this big. It's like, Dave, I once caught a... So I leave there with all these movies that I've always wanted. And then I was like, I need to work at this fucking place. This is not Hollywood or Blockbuster. I don't even know what place I worked at. I need to work here. And eventually I got a job there, because I think Chase was like, well, bro, I'm cutting my hours or something, blah, blah. Something. He wasn't going to work there as much anymore. Anyway, so I was going to take over his shift. And I had an interview with John and Kristen and Lance. And I knew it was going to be a good job, because there were none of those like bullshit questions you get at like in an interview, right? They're like, so can you tell us about the time that you, maybe someone came in and they were just like, you know, they didn't have a pleasant experience, and like, how did you rectify that situation? You know, you're like, what? That's a horrible question, first off. So don't ever answer that if someone asks you that. You can just tell them to go fuck themselves and be like, I don't know, I would just tell them to go fuck themselves. That should be an adequate answer. But they didn't do that. My cool team over Vulcan, they're like, hey, so this guy comes in, he really liked this movie. What do you recommend? And they do about 3 or 4 of these. And it's great, because you can see little wheels turning. Everyone has a different way to get from wherever they started from to Mission Impossible 2. Because all roads lead to Mission Impossible 2. So they could tell that, you know, maybe there was something up here. This was like before I was telling everyone to just watch the first 2 Emmanuels. I was like, they're amazing. And then there's one with cannibals later that you're going to love. So I actually think I knew more about movies when I started, and then I left like I had a lobotomy, and I only knew about like Dude, Where's My Car and Emmanuel and European Softcore. So back then I was on fire. And they were like, yeah, sure, go ahead and work. Can you do the alphabet? Do you know what that is? And I was like, yeah, I've seen it. Let's fucking knock this out. And at no point was I ever, waking up going like, oh, God, I got to go to work today. What a shitty day it's going to be. I'd be like, nah, today's going to be awesome because I'm going to go to work. Jesse Lee's working, and O'Reilly Carbuto is working. And I'm pretty sure Homeboy's over at Magnolia, so your boy's going to be eating some beanie cheese stuff, Magmud, I don't know what that is. And there's going to be some beers. So, that being said, you're excited, and you go to work, and you're like, oh, but wait, there's a whole nother layer. We're going to watch 70s action movies all fucking night. Boom! And we win. So, every time you went to work, you were like, I'm hanging out with my friend, we're probably going to have a theme, and we're going to just watch movies and bullshit all the time. It was the best job I've ever had. And it is like the gold standard of what I think a job should be. I'm not talking pay because we didn't really... There was actually this thing that happened with the pay. So like we didn't get... I mean, it's not like we're millionaires. I don't think it was like $7. Like the business is closed. I give all trade secrets away. So there was a point where we were making like $7.25 an hour. And then I think it was Obama, maybe. Good guy. Obama's like, let's raise the minimum wage. And we're like, that sounds cool. And the minimum wage, it got right up to us. So now everyone's making what we're making minimum wage. It was a dream job. Whereas before, I think we were making a couple bucks over, like $1. We're like, hey, at least we're not making minimum wage. It kind of stripped us of that a little bit, but it all worked out because the system, the universe that surrounded South Congress and Vulcan, or even up north in the Guadalupe store, was a system of like trades, of like local businesses just kind of like trading and helping each other out. So like, we go next door to Guero's. Those guys also, who did the research? They're the ones that crumbled the fucking South store. So I'm not going to plug them. Redact that. Take that away. So Home Slice, Torchy's, when they opened up, they were like, hey, we're new in town. Can we like trade movies for tacos? And we're like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a good idea. Bolden Creek, all these places were just like this little universe. And we would just trade movies, and they would trade food, and they'd trade goods. And I'm sure that, whatever. I'm sure that caused all kinds of problems, because whatever. For us, though, it's like we already bought the movie. Like, what is it? Like, someone doesn't rent it? No one's going to rent that fucking weird movie you want anyways. Just take it, and we'll get some tacos. So there were lots of trades, so the money was never a real issue. We could always pay our bills, but we lived like kings. In fact, Joe Shivers, mayor of South Congress, that guy owned that fucking town everywhere. Joe, he's got his little little showcase showdown running around. Just that guy killed it. That guy was like the really cool Leslie. I don't know if that makes sense. Leslie was a nice fella, I guess, but Joe Shivers was an amazing fella to me. So who knows? Well, you can cut that out if that's too much. I don't really care. So anyways, the job had these amazing perks. The pay was not one of them, but everything else was an amazing perk that the limited pay, you didn't even think about it. Like, I didn't give a shit about it. I was like, I don't care. My bills are paid, and I fucking eat great food all week long. You would take food home. You're like, I got food for home now. I don't even need to buy food. So those are some of the greatest things about Vulcan. Wait. There's more great things about Vulcan. And another great thing about Vulcan is Gregory Nance. Gregory Nance is the most beautiful, wonderful person in the entire world. Because, well, many reasons. He liked Roxy Music a lot. But because the number one reason for me, in my head, is that he gave me my first, like, top secret assignment. Which wasn't top secret at all. But it was kind of like, I in my head, I was like, oh. So there's like Vulcan Video, there's the normal employees, and then there's me, who has a special task that my boy Greg Nance gave me. And so Greg goes, David, we just got a whole bunch of European softcore. I need you to make sure that there's no penetration in them. Can you do that for me? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. Stacks of movies. All I did was watch European softcore for, well, I mean, I did it before, and I think I did it afterwards, too. But for, like, 2 months, that's all I watched. I'd have to, like, palate cleanse with, like, Buffy or something, just because so much. Beautiful clothes, great cars, good music. And I'm looking through these movies for penetration. Make sure no one slips up, or in, I guess, would be the adequate. So if that happened, we would put that on the porno shelf, the no-no shelf. You gotta be 18 to rent that movie. All right, put it over there. The strong sexual content stuff, it's like a Euro softcore. Throw it, you got your Tinto Brass or something, but it's fine, you know. So that was one of the greatest. I was like, great, you believe in me. You know that I can find the movie that has penetration that's not supposed to have it. And I felt like I was on top of the world. I bought a little European sports car with like driving loafers, and I would just listen to like Pet Shop Boys constantly driving around, knowing that like I had this stack of Euro softcore at home. So maybe it empowered me a little. It was pretty good. It's good times. But that's the kind of task you get at work. You don't get like, hey, guy, I don't know your name because you're just some fucking whatever. Will you do this horrible thing that is degrading to you? Which you get at other jobs. I'm not going into specifics. Maybe I've never had another job. I don't know. So if that's the worst thing that happens, you're kind of living large. So your day-to-day is hanging out with your friends, watching movies, drinking beer, eating free food. Your spare time is watching for penetration for work. I could have done that job forever. And then some part of me was like, oh man, like, you know, I don't even know what happened. I just didn't work there anymore. I think I had like 4 or 5 jobs while I worked there. And I would always get these quote unquote dream jobs. I had a marketing job once. I was like, this amazing gig. This is 11 minutes. We're good. Hey, everyone, it was amazing. I think Vulcan Video was the most spectacular place on earth. My heart was shattered when I came back from New York City and saw it in rubble. Just the South Store. And all I could do was just stare evilly at Guero's and be like, fuck you. Because I'm pretty sure those guys did it, you know, with mines. But I love that place, and it's sad to see it go. I had a lot of good memories there. Everyone that worked there was an amazing, beautiful person. Even if it took a while to figure out who was, what they were. That'll make sense to people. Everyone was amazing, and I wouldn't change any of that for anything. Like that experience of working at Vulcan and being around those people and just expanding our minds with all these movies, you know, like, God, that's a dream come true. That's like, it's perfect. There's no other word for it. Perfect. And Joe Shivers also, if you're listening, I knew Chase way before you, and you were not Austin Dave, okay? There was this thing where Chase was like, hey, that's not his voice, right? His voice is, hey, I've got this new Austin Dave. He's so cool like you. And I was like, who the fuck is this fucking Joe Shivers? And then I met Joe Shivers and fell in love with that man because he is a lovely, lovely fucking man, and it pissed me off because he was actually nicer and funnier than me. Which is, I'm not funny or anything, but he is a sweetheart, and he's a really kind soul. Fuck you, Joe. You won. And as I said before, everything starts and ends with Chase. So, Chase, Joe won.